Hi, it's Christine Hendricks, and I am off the cuff with
Melyssa Willems.
Melyssa. Did you say Willems? Is that how you pronounce that?
Willems, yeah.
Willems. Okay, cool. And it's a unique way to spell your name. I was admiring that. It's different. I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, Melyssa, like it looks Melissa, but it could be something else.
Yeah, Melyssa, I just recently changed it. I saw that name in somebody in my school in Oakland, California had spelled her name that way. And I said, that's a really unique name to spell it. You know, it's like, it's different. It sets you aside, from all the other Melissas.
Yeah, it definitely does. I like it. It's like you said, it's different. Very
Right.
cool. All right, so let's see. I want to actually, you just said something to me before we came live, and I'm like, oh, hold on to that. And I'm like, because I wanted to let people know I'm in Canada, I'm in Ontario, Canada, and you're in Alaska, right?
Right. I'm in Anchorage, Alaska. Correct.
Oh, it is Anchorage. I was wondering, I'm like, is she in Anchorage? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's where I'm from. Well, I'm not from here, but I live here. It's my home.
Is it really like that northern show, Looking for a House in Alaska, and they're like the sinks with the buckets underneath?
If I were to put the camera around, you would see houses. So no, it's not. It's definitely not that. It's now there are some parts, that especially in the villages, that they do live very meekly. And they, sustain themselves with subsistence fishing and whaling and that sort of stuff. And there are bush people who love to, live off the grid, so to speak. We have a lot of places to do that in. But for the most part, Anchorage is the biggest city, and it has about 300,000 people. So not New York or, San Francisco, but we definitely have civilization here.
So that's just TV show.
Right, TV show.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for the clarification. So you're up in Anchorage, Alaska, and you want to become a speaker. Tell me more about that. That seems a little interesting. Somebody's like so far up north, like there's got to be a little more to that than meets the eye.
So I'm originally from California. Well, I was actually originally born in Indiana, moved to California as a child, moved to Seattle. And then through just life experiences, it brought me to Alaska. Never in a million years did I think that I was going to be here in Alaska. My first boyfriend actually tried to get me to move up here because his family is from here in Dillingham. And I was like, why the heck would I go to Alaska? No. But then fast forward, 10 years later, I find myself here in Alaska, and I've been here for 15 years. So, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. And so you are a fitness coach. Are you in? Hello. Hopefully mine doesn't ring today.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I told myself to do that too. I was like, you have to turn your ringer off. One thing, right? Because I was so focused on the camera.
No worries. So you're a fitness coach. Do you have like a place that you go and you train people, or you do it all online? What is it you do with that?
So I became a fitness coach last year, and I actually have just been sitting on it, so to speak. I'm more in the healthcare field. And so I'm really just now stepping into that season in my life of being, an actual fitness coach. And so I'm kind of like putting myself out there. But I've been training since about 2016, 2017. I was in a bodybuilding show. That was an amazing experience. I lost almost 175 pounds. I used to be almost 300 pounds. So that's been like a whole journey in itself. And it's actually kind of led me into more of my purpose. It's actually showed me how to be able to set goals and be disciplined, and step outside my comfort zone, really step outside. Never once did I wear a bikini until 2017. And I had loose skin. But there's a wonderful thing called Bikini Bite, and it, you just pull, you just pull the skin down and tape it, and it works great, and you can't even tell. So, that really encouraged me to say, you know what, if I can do this, like, what else can I do? And I was inspired to learn more about the fitness industry and just like how to take care of myself. But I own a small care coordination agency here. And for people who don't know what that is, it's home-based community waiver. Every state in the United States has them. We help people, we coordinate those services, make sure that, they're getting service, that, the clients are happy. And if they need any changes, we push the paper. But that led me into my purpose now I founded a nonprofit for teen moms and families struggling with the child protective services. So that's always been my passion ever since I was a young child. I always knew that was going to be something that I needed to step into eventually, and just kind of catching my bearings there. Like we just launched 2 months ago. So that's pretty exciting.
It is. You seem like a pretty busy lady.
Yeah, I'm actually doing things. Yesterday, I was thinking I was stepping out of my office. I'm doing things that I once dreamed about, but I didn't have a name for it. I just knew that there was a better life, than I was allowing myself to live. And it really, and there's been lots of people in areas that, people have poured into me, but it really wasn't until like a few months ago where I started listening to motivational YouTubes. And I would put it on in the morning and I would just sit there and let it pour into me, because I'm always doing the pouring out to everybody else. And so I just was, letting this pour into me. And, what really struck me is when Les Brown said, "You have greatness inside of you." And I just was like, listening to his story, we share a lot of similarities, a lot of contrast. But I was like, wow, like I have greatness inside of me. Like, why did it take me almost 40 years to really figure out my greatness, and have the courage and the confidence to really step outside of my comfort zone and go for it, So I owe a lot to that man.
So you just said something I wanted to ask you, and I'm like, should I ask her this or not? But now you said 40 years, and I'm like, okay. I wanted to ask how old you were, because I've been following a girl named Katina, and she's a bodybuilder, and she plays second somewhere, I don't know, in the States. I don't really follow exactly what it's all about. And I admire her as well, because she is 55 and looking fabulous. And I'm like, so when I knew, that you were, into fitness and stuff, and I'm like, I wonder how old she is, because, you look like late 20s or 30 to me. And you don't have to share exact. I said you don't have to share your exact age, but around-ish if you want.
No, I'm 30. I will be 40 September 19th.
Oh my goodness, you're looking fab. Love it.
That is, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, because there was a time where, I didn't always feel as confident or, look as, good or attractive or whatever people want to say, but it really comes from inside. For a really long time, I always, envied all these girls, with the blonde hair and, in high school and middle school, you're always looking, but we're all beautiful, and I'm really understanding more as I get older that, it's the beauty that's on the inside. And that's what's really most important,
Absolutely. Leona says, very impressive.
Thank you. So Ontario, I have a question really fast. On Ontario, how far is that? I'm trying to think of the map in my head. How far is that from actual Alaska borders? Is it like in the middle of Canada?
Okay, I'm in Eastern Canada. Let me ask my truck driver husband, how far do you think we are? Many moons. I know it's at least a 3-day drive.
Right. Okay, so you're more Eastern, because I think I'm closer to Vancouver. I'm not a geographist.
So if you think about New York State, is it the eastern side, Pierre? Yeah. The eastern side of New York State, we're just above that.
So we're far away.
Pretty far.
together. Now.
I actually have this picture that you sent me. I'm going to put it up if I can. There we go. And I put your website on there for everybody. But I really love this. I'm a snow girl. I love this picture. It's just, I love the snow in the background. I love how you're kind of all looking over your shoulders. And I'm curious as to this picture and the two girls in it and anything you want to tell me about that.
So they are, now you gotta make me a little emotional. They are the founders really with me of Faith Forever. My agency is named after them. My older daughter, Samaya Faith, and Nalea Forever is her middle name. And I put them together because those girls taught me so much. They are what grace and forgiveness look like in human flesh. They have seen me at my worst, and I am determined to give them my best. They really are our kids teach us more things than we really teach our kids. And I've had 6 kids. I lost 3 of them to Child Protective Services. I gave 1 up for adoption, and I'm raising 2 of them. And so they have been the catalyst to my change in life. They have been they were just amazing light beings, I call them. They really saved my life in more ways than one. Samaya is going into high school, which I can't believe. And then my little one, she will be in the 7th grade. And it's just amazing to watch them grow. And like I said, to teach you things. And I love the relationship that we have. It wasn't too long ago where there wasn't a lot of laughter in my home. There was a lot of anger, and displaced anger on my part, anger because I wasn't living up to the greatness that I had inside of me. And they have watched me, go through all that. And I hope that I inspire them, to be able to live their dreams and to know that we are not defined by one moment in our life. And I don't know who said this quote, but it resonated so much with me. And it was in the group. Maybe you can help me. Our past don't define us. They refine us, and that's really, I don't know who said it. I want to say it was Kevin, but I'm not sure.
Kevin. I'm not sure.
Right.
I do have it broke down, but I got stacks of papers now. It's so hard to find it.
I know. Yeah. So I created this agency in hopes of, coming alongside women who have experienced the things that I've experienced, or even, who are on the verge of experiencing those things, being a teen mom, not having the skills I needed, not having the tools that I needed to be able to really have a productive parenting life. That's what this agency is for. Where'd you go?
I just wanted you center screen so people could see you speaking and give me a chance to flip for the quote, but I couldn't find it. No, it does sound like you have quite a story and quite a transformational story. I'm not sure if you want to get too deep into that right now. And I look forward to.
Yeah, I'm an open book. Like, really, I was homeless. I was on drugs, I was sleeping in a car, when the quote came to me, and I'm not a real religious person, but the quote came to me, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, plans for hope and a future. And that just really stuck with me my whole life. And my growth has not been linear. A lot of people think that growth is linear. It's like, okay, one day you get that and then you're just off, Mine was like a heartbeat machine, that heart monitor machine was like up and down, up and down, up and down, but it was like in those moments, like looking back, that's how you know that you're alive, because you're falling on your face, or hopefully on your back so you can look up. But
if you can look up, you can get up, right? Les Brown.
Right. So it's like, my growth has been all over the place, and when I think I got it, when I think I had it, it was like, nope, you don't have it. And life just smacks me down again, but I, looking through all the challenges, me being a survivor of foster care, of group homes, of being molested, of all these things, all these messages that I really have had to unshed. I've had to shed them and it was just kind of like, I heard a quote the other day that, and it was pertaining to fitness, that, people think that, it's just easy, but you might chisel yourself, 500 million times, but it's on that 500 million and one that you get that result, and so it's just a constant, process of refining ourselves, and redefining who we are, I think is important. And having children in the child protective system, you get a scarlet letter, I like to call it, and they look at you and they're like, oh my gosh, I wonder what she did, and a lot of it isn't what they did, it's what support they didn't have. The people I say it takes a village. It takes a village to raise kids. It takes a village, to raise yourself when you don't have anybody there to raise you, or you don't think you did. But, there's been so many people that have poured into me. A lot of people say they're self-made. I'm definitely not one of those people. I'm definitely made of all the case managers, all the people who loved me and saw something in me when I was a complete mess, and it wasn't that long ago I was a complete mess, I just want to say 5-6 years ago, really was a beginning. When I started fitness was the beginning of my transformation. And I was writing something for Les, and you have knowledge and you have all these tools, but if you don't know what to do with it and or you don't apply it, then it's just sitting there being wasted, so yeah.
So it sounded like you had some, like, once these other workers, I'll call them, come into your life, and because they had to, right, with your children.
Right.
It sounds like they were actually there. You had some of them as support to actually help you and guide you through your difficult times. Is that true? Like, or is that just, yeah?
Right. Even though it's only for a season, I think I heard a quote, something, you have people in your life for a season and a reason, and what really helped me, you were doing an interview with somebody who was talking about post-traumatic stress syndrome. And what really helped me is we have a place here in Anchorage called White Raven Center, and it's a spiritual based practice that is based on Native Alaskan healing practices, breath work. Bringing those broken pieces of your soul back together, and it's only until you face the darkness that you can see the light. And so a lot of it was working. That really substantially changed my life, because we hold, before the age of 7, we don't have a lot of memories. And so if things happen, before we formulate those physical memories, we hold them in our body. And so there were a lot of things that I learned by unleashing these repressed body traumas that I didn't even know that I had. And it helped me understand my parenting and where a lot of these things came from, that happened in my life. And so yeah, it was just accumulation of just people who poured into me, and the work that I did myself, because you can have a lot of people tell you who they think you are, but until you really believe it within yourself, it's not going to actually take effect. You're going to continue.
100%.
For sure.
So in our homework assignment, one of the sayings that I came up with was, kindness and empathy are as valuable as gold. And it sounds
Right.
like these people, had that value to pour out to you. And I'm really happy because, it's transformed your life, right?
Right. My life. And I feel like if we are transforming ourselves and we change, our community, and, it starts with changing our kids, helping our kids unlearn the messages, even that I'm learning now at 13 and 12, that I have to go back and I have to help them relearn who they are because of the messages that I gave them, not knowing that I was giving them these messages. My daughter said something profound to me the other day, and I was like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. I'm not, I don't like my hair. I can't do this, whatever, whatever it was. And she said, Mom, when you doubt yourself, you're giving me permission to doubt myself. Just was like, who are you?
Who is this child?
But it just was like, you're right. I'm giving you permission. And then to take it a step further, when we doubt ourselves, we give other people around us permission to doubt themselves, if you're not living in your truth and your authenticity, then you're allowing the people, you know, who might look up to you, who might have that soul connection with you to say, oh, well, if she does it, I do it too. I'm doing it too. It's okay. Look at where she's at, you know, and I can do it too, you know, and that's not, we want to hold ourselves accountable so other people hold themselves accountable as well.
I was realizing that I was kind of second guessing myself, and, you know, always that unsureness. And one time, not that long ago, I was on a job and I realized, like, you know, just something that my coworker said to me. It's like, you should know this, like, you know, you're an electrician too. And I'm like, I do, but I have that self doubt sometimes that maybe I'm wrong, you know, or I'm not quite right or whatever. And I started looking and I'm like, why do I feel that way? And I realized, and you know, and it comes up, it's always kind of been there. And I'm like, okay, I need to stop that. And
Right.
I realized it came from, you know, my father being such a perfectionist when I was a kid,
Right.
that, you know, I felt like nothing was really good enough. And, you know, nothing, if I did something, I'd have to, you know, do it again, or, you
Right.
know, whatever the case may be. And I was like, oh, that's where that came from. And I had to step back and go, okay, now you know where this is coming from. Like, now you're aware of it. Now you know where it's coming from.
Right.
Deal with it. You know, find that confidence within you, Christine, and just go do it. And, you know, when Les looked at me through his camera, he looked at me and he said, I believe in you. It really gave me a lot of confidence that day.
Right, right. Something had came to my mind that he had just said this morning. I was listening to, he was in a mix of my motivational, and he said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And I was just like, okay, like public speaking is not my, you know, forte, you know, like when you did that screen, I just was looking at myself and I was like, what do I, you know, deer in headlights, you know? And that goes back to understanding where that goes back to. I grew up in Oakland, California. You know, so I have always been just who I am. And I, in the 7th grade, gave a speech on Martin Luther King Day. I had a dream, you know. I had one supporter in that whole group of 7th graders. And you know how 7th graders can be, you know, this white girl talking about Martin Luther King. So it's just like, that's where my fear came from. That was that exact. I trans, and it's like, you know, like, why are you holding on to that? Like, everybody's a jerk in 7th grade. Like, they don't even know who they are, you know, but yet you internalize it, you know. So yeah, you don't like you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Les Brown.
Yeah. And Alice says, way to go.
Thank you.
So your website and what you do there, I know we started to touch on that. Did we finish that? Or I get scatterbrained sometimes.
I know. No, this has been great. No, I think we have. You know, we provide case management. I actually just found a grant writer and funding coordinator yesterday. So she's going to be on board. And so we are in the beginning, you know, baby stages, seeking 501(c)(3). My goal is to expand this organization, you know, to wherever we are needed nationally. Right now, there's definitely a need in Alaska. We don't have a teen parent home. In my program, we want to house them for a year after the baby's born, you know, so they can come in 3 months pregnant and still, you know, and then they have to leave after, you know, about a year. And then we want to subsidize their rent somewhere. Because for me, my stress came from, how am I, you know, the reason why I gave my son for adoption was because how am I going to support this baby who was born at 29 weeks? You know, we both almost died during delivery. How am I going to support him when I can't go to work, you know? And so it was a lot of help, honestly, from my dad, you know, like he really helped me a lot. But financial stress is a big factor to why people abuse their kids, or, you know, whether it's verbal abuse or, you know, it's misplaced anger, misplaced frustration, you know. And so I want to help alleviate that, you know. We're going to have counselors who are trauma informed, because a lot of these girls are suffering from their own trauma as a child, and that's really important to get a handle on that, and to understand. I'm a big proponent of options for childbirth. So we want to offer, if they want to have their baby at home, which I had one of my babies at home, and it was an amazing experience. Empowering us as a mother, to know that we are strong enough to birth this baby. Like, our bodies know. And so, provide case management, and our teen home is going to open in 2022. And so we're just like, I'm so excited for this next year. Really, 2020 was an amazing year for me, personally and just spiritually, as I've grown as a family with my daughters. And, this year, next year, like, it's just on from here to infinity and beyond.
Well, I'm glad that we actually touched back on that, because I've got a better picture of what you're doing. And, so I'm really glad that I actually revisited that. So let's do some questions.
We have questions, and we talked about so much already.
I know. So I kind of get why, you have some of the messages you do now. And, one of my questions is like, okay, your specific message and something that, if you want to say something to help someone else. And I know you've said a lot already. Do you have like something specific you'd like to share? Like, do you have one, like a quote that, homework thing that you've worked on? Just want to kind of give you that chance right here.
Right. No, I mean, I think my biggest message, to the broken, to the lost, is that, we are not our mistakes. With hard work and perseverance, you can really overcome anything and redefine yourself. I was told that if I made it to 18, my parents should just be happy, that I would have no quality of life. And here I am, almost 40 years old, and I'm doing something because I believe in myself. We can have millions of people, like I said, believe in us, but we have to believe in ourselves. We have to rid ourselves of the messages that we received, and just really keep pushing forward. I think that's really my message, is just like, don't give up on yourself, even when everybody else gives up on you, like, that's not important. You have greatness inside of you. Like, I've been telling everybody that, like, I tell my kids that every day. You have greatness inside of you, and what a simple message, because you never know. And what caught me was because when Les Brown shared the story about him having that one person, just that one person say, don't say that about yourself, like, you're not dumb. You're not the dumb twin. Like, you have greatness inside of you, and what that sparked inside of him, so if I can come alongside the broken and give somebody hope and say, if Melyssa Ann Willems could do it, like, trust me, girl, you got this. Like, you can do it too.
And
Yeah,
you'll be a light and inspiration for many, I'm sure.
I hope so.
So what is something fun you like to do?
Oh, I like to lift weights. That's really fun for me. But, I love my doggies. I have two doggies, that one I rescued in Louisiana. So I love spending time with them. What I really enjoy these days, is just my kids are older now, and they don't like to snuggle with me as often. My TV broke in my living room, so it's made us all go in my room and snuggle in the bed. Like, those are the moments that I cherish, and that's fun for me.
And they don't last forever either.
They don't last forever. Like I said, my daughter's going to be out of the house, well, she wants to go to college. So, but 4 short years, like, let's make these like really awesome for you,
I just want to take a second and thank Leona, Alice, and Sandra for being on. I believe they're all on Facebook watching. So thank you for being here. All right, let's see. Do you have another quote that because you talked about the Les Brown quote and stuff, but do you have another quote that you call your favorite, or was that your favorite earlier, or just one that kind of connected in with, because I have some that is like, I think about consistently. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to have a favorite, I think.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, my daughter gave me one the other day. Actually, after my first Zoom with Les, she gave me one, because I was like, well, I need quotes. Hurry up, help me find quotes. And said from Nalea Miller, compliment yourself even in the darkest of times. And I just love that quote. I think that's amazing.
That is a really excellent quote. I like that.
I'm like, I swear she's an old soul. Like,
she must be. I'll have to get you to send that to me. I think I can use that one. I'll have to rewatch and write it down.
yeah.
I like that. I don't know. We've covered so much already. One of and I almost skipped this question with Nasser Dean, and then he told, and I thought I'm gonna ask it anyways, and then he told me something else. So I was like, wow, that's cool. So it's something interesting. Let me put it up here. What is something interesting when you meet somebody for the first time? Like what is it that they say, oh, that's really interesting, or that's really cool? It, you may have already talked about it, or there could be something else I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking, I think my personality is pretty interesting, but no, that I was almost 300 pounds. I get a lot of people like, oh, you've always been skinny, and you don't have loose skin and this and that. And I'm like, no, I was almost 300 pounds, like, and so it is doable, so I think a lot of people find that pretty interesting. They're pretty shocked when I tell them that, so.
I think so.
Yeah.
And it's
Not perfection.
determination, right? It's determination and that will to do it, to actually, there's a little story about the dog laying on a nail, and the person comes over and says to the farmer, why is your dog howling? He's like, well, he's laying on a nail. Well, why doesn't he move? Because it just doesn't hurt enough for him to move.
Right, for sure.
What is something you're looking forward to in the future?
I think just like I said before, just growing this agency, and really, just getting out there and really stepping into my best self, stepping into the power that I have, and hopefully affecting people's lives and giving them hope. So I'm just excited about the future in general. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I think I'm excited actually for you, because now that I've been speaking with you, and I'm like, wow, like I said earlier, just transformational, incredible story that you have. And I know we're just touching the tip of the iceberg with that. And I can't wait. I really can't wait to see you speaking on stage and where you're gonna go.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to speak on stage. I'm definitely working on getting out there and not, running away from that, because it was placed on my heart for a reason. So I think, like you said, we're our own biggest critic.
Absolutely. I want to be respectful of your time and, let you say anything else that you'd like to share before we go, or, save that for another time.
Yeah, no, I think this has been such a great opportunity. So thank you. I was so nervous coming on here and doing this with you. I know it took us a little bit, but I just am so honored to be able to share, the little bit about myself and connect with you. It's been great.
Well, I'm loving speaking to the people in the group and doing these interviews. And I actually feel honored every time I have somebody on here. And it's been an amazing experience for myself as well. So thank you again. And we'll thank the viewers, and we'll sign off for now. Bye, everybody.